Season 2, Episode 5 of Goal Getting Podcast. Let's do it. Got a goal and you just can't hit it? Well, Philip here and we'll help you get it. Learn the goal achievement success system here on Goal Getting Podcast and put some gas in your goals to power you to the finish line. Learn how to use gas in your goals with your guide, Tony Woodall, as he provides tips, strategies, and inspiration with quote and advice from experts to help you get the goals you set. Let's go, friends. Rev up your engines and let's take off for success. Hey, goal getters, welcome back to the show. Today I'm going to be talking about the tools I use to lose 40 pounds in 16 weeks. Today we have a quote from Thomas Jefferson that I think is very appropriate. Walking is the best possible exercise. Habituate yourself to walk very far. As I said, this is an appropriate quote for today's show. Thomas Jefferson, a great American founding father, vice president, and statesman, shared this great quote about the benefits of walking. Walking is the best possible exercise. It's something that can be done by just about anyone that has the ability to walk as an exercise. The most important part of what he says is in the second half of his quote, and that is habituate yourself to walk very far. Habituate. I kind of like that word. One of the keys to developing a great work on wellness program is to make what you do a habit. Habituating activities that burn calories will make it easier to complete them. When you habituate these activities, your mind doesn't have to think about what should I do or should I do this. It's conditioned and primed to start as soon as you think it. Habits are important. I started getting up at 4 a.m. about a year ago when I started my podcast. I needed the extra time to be able to write up my show notes, record episodes before I went off to work. And when I started interviewing my expert guests, I also had to have a couple of hours in the morning to be able to talk to people on the East Coast. My 5 a.m. is their 8 a.m. and so forth. Now, I wake up almost every morning at 4 a.m. without my alarm clock. I started going to the gym at 4 a.m. as well this year just to get some time in early in the morning with my gym to be able to get the activity. Right now, unfortunately, I wake up about 10 to 15 minutes before the alarm even goes off, and that's even on the weekends when I can sleep in. So there's a power in habituating your activities. Now, we'll cover habits more in a later episode and in more depth because habits can help you develop the right routines to achieve your work on wellness goals. My first tool I want to talk about is the gym. Back to Jefferson's quote, too. He says you should habituate yourself to walk very far. Walking long distances is an exercise I used frequently when I was working on losing 40 pounds in 16 weeks. I would spend a lot of time in the gym. I like going to the gym. I'm a member of Planet Fitness, and I put a link to their website on our show notes page so you can go check it out. I have tried other gyms in my area where I live, but I kept coming back to Planet Fitness. The main things I like about Planet Fitness are the great equipment that they have in their facilities, and I prefer the models that they have. It's like a Life Fitness program, or Life Fitness is the model of equipment that they use there, and it's really one of the better types of equipment that I found at any of the gyms. So I like their equipment. They've got great equipment. It's either new or in really good shape. The staff in the Planet Fitnesses I've been to have been very friendly and helpful. Their locker rooms are clean, facilities are clean, and the prices are great. They have great options from $10 to $25 per month. I have a black card, which allows me to use any of the Planet Fitness facilities anywhere. I use them when I travel. I have one near my house. I have one in the city that I go to. And I started going to the one near my office, which is about a 5-minute walk. I would leave work and be there 5 minutes later. If I waited till I got on BART for my commute home, well, I could think of a million things I could be doing much better than going to the gym. So I usually did the one near the office during that time when I was working on my 40 pounds in 16 weeks. The second tool that I used is at the gym, and that's the elliptical. I still haven't finished my thoughts on Jefferson's quote about habituating yourself to walk very far. That's where the elliptical comes in. Using the elliptical is like walking. I have a bad knee, and that's bad in quotes, because I had my meniscus removed when I ripped it playing tennis a few years ago. Sometimes it hurts, sometimes it doesn't. Usually it doesn't. It isn't anything that stops me from doing any running or anything, and I still run some, but I like using the elliptical. It's easier on the knees, and I can adjust the levels to make it a little harder workout. Now, back to Jefferson and his walking far. Well, I started doing a 1 hour time on the elliptical, and I worked my way up by doing that at about 5 miles in an hour is where I did that. So I would get on the elliptical and do 1 hour, and I typically got about 5 miles in during that 1 hour, and that burns about 700 calories on the elliptical with my weight, at least at that time, and the levels that I used. 5 miles is far, I think, even by Jefferson's terms. It is recommended that you walk at least 10,000 steps per day, and 10,000 steps is approximately 5 miles. Well, after I hit that goal, I started trying to go for 2 hours. I wanted to get in at least 1,200 calories burned in that workout that day. Remember, I was consuming 1,200 calories a day on my eating plan, and I had to burn more calories than I was eating. That's how you lose weight. I was burning an additional calories, of course, by all of the activity that I did during the day, on any of the other walking that I did, or anything throughout the day, I would burn the additional calories. Now, if I could burn 1,200 calories in my workouts at the gym, that means I would have a calorie deficit. The more days of deficit, the more weight I lost. So I worked up to 2 hours and burning over 1,400 calories on the elliptical each day. That's 10 miles that I put in on the elliptical 4 days a week. My third tool is an app called Map My Walk. I usually only went to the gym when it was winter. That's our bad season in San Francisco. Now, mind you, it's not Minnesota, Boston, or even cold for that matter, but it does rain from November through April some, and usually not enough, but some in San Francisco. And as the times changed and the sun was out later, I would go to the gym to change my clothes and then head out to walk the streets of San Francisco. Now, I work in downtown San Francisco, one of the top tourist destinations in the world. And there's a reason for it. The scenery is beautiful, the weather is usually nice, and this is where I took Thomas Jefferson's quote to heart. There are so many great places to walk in the city. I work about 2 blocks from the ferry building, which is on the Embarcadero, and it's a great road that runs along the San Francisco Bay and the wharfs. And it goes from Fisherman's Wharf all the way past AT&T Park, which is where the San Francisco Giants play. Now, on nice days, when the sun was up until 7:30, 8 o'clock, I would leave the gym and walk down Sansom Street towards Fisherman's Wharf. Before I left the gym, however, I would plug in my headphones to my iPhone, crank up my playlist, and then start my workout on my Map My Walk app. Map My Walk is one of my favorite apps. I use it every time I go walking. It uses GPS to track your location and measures the distance you walk, the elevation, and many other great things about your walk. It integrates easily into the iPhone Health app as well as fitness applications like Fitbit. Now, I would head out down to Fisherman's Wharf. Now, at the wharf, I would get on the Embarcadero and start walking south, back towards AT&T Park. Now, the scenery there is great. If you've ever been to San Francisco, you know what I'm talking about, and you understand. The scenery is beautiful around Fisherman's Wharf. One, the tourists is very interesting. You got a lot of great people watching you can do, but the scenery is just really great. When you're at the wharf, at Fisherman's Wharf, you have the tourists. You have Alcatraz Island out in the bay. You can see the Golden Gate Bridge. And as you walk along the Embarcadero, as I said, the people watching is great. There's people there all hours of the day. Tourists, you hear different languages, you see different types of people walking. It's just an amazing, amazing walk. I really do love it, and I highly recommend it if you're in San Francisco to take that walk. As you walk along the Embarcadero, you also get to walk past Coit Tower on the right. Now, there is a great hill and some steps that you can walk up to get a great burn on your walk. And I don't know if you're familiar with the streets of San Francisco. There's also a lot of side streets going up towards Coit Tower off Sansom and those areas where you can walk up those hills and just really get a great burn. And I did that occasionally, more than occasionally, on the walks after I got into, doing my walks, because it just helps get that extra calorie burn when you're out there, build some muscle tone, and, do a lot of tough climbs of those hills. And there's quite a few of them in San Francisco. As I said, if you've been there, you can understand. If you're not, trust me, there's some really tough hills on the streets of San Francisco. Watch the movie Bullet with Steve McQueen, and you'll see him riding his Mustang up and down the streets of San Francisco. Now, as you pass the ferry building, You can now see the Bay Bridge. Now, there's a beautiful light show on the bridge, by the way, after dark if you walk at night. Oh, and did I say you're walking along the bay the entire time? What a great view. What a place to walk. It's just amazing. Well, Jefferson would be very proud of me for habituating myself to walk far. I continued on to AT&T Park, where I would turn onto 2nd or 3rd Street and head back into the city. I would head back up to Market Street and then on to Sampson and back to the gym. And it usually took me about 90 minutes to complete that walk, which, as it turned out, is about an 8-mile walk. And depending on how many side streets you hit and everything else. But it's about an 8-mile walk and a very good walk, especially if you take some of the hills while you're doing it. But my walk would track my journey, alerting me to each mile as I passed it. I also use it on weekends when I take my far walks along the waterfront and hills near my house. And I would love to, and I always tried to walk 10 to 15 miles on Saturday and Sunday mornings. And thanks, Thomas Jefferson, I did what you said. My fourth tool, and it's one of the most important ones that I had during this entire journey where I lost 40 pounds in 16 weeks, and I couldn't have done it without this app, and that is MyFitnessPal. This tool is one of my favorites because it helps to keep me honest and up to speed on my calorie consumption, and it just makes it so easy to do that. With MyFitnessPal, I can enter and track everything I eat. You can scan the barcodes on the food you eat, and it will pull the calories and other values from the manufacturer. They've got a lot of things in their database that you can easily find what you've been eating, whether it's out at, restaurants like Cheesecake Factory. I've done that many times as well, and I can see the calories and make sure that I eat the lower calorie items on the menu. But after you did that, after you scanned all of your food that you eat every day, you can set goals and keep track of your weight as well as your exercise. And when you enter all of your meals, your exercise, and then you close out at the end of the day, it will give you a total of what you did and an estimate of how much you will weigh in 1 to 2 weeks if you keep eating the way you're going. That's a great inspiration, for it to tell you, and be able to see that if I keep eating this way, you will weigh 220 pounds in 5 days. Woohoo! Boy, and that just really excites me. So I used MyFitnessPal frequently every day to track my food. That's how I stayed on top of the calories that I was taking in on a daily basis. And again, remember, I was on a 1,200 calorie eating program, and that meant I had to stick with it. The app and the tools that I used to lose those 40 pounds in 16 weeks, I provided links to those on the websites, or links to their websites on our show notes page at goalgettingpodcast.com/S2-E5. But you can just switch over to the App Store on your smartphone if you're listening to it there, to this podcast there, and download them right now. They're both free apps. That's MyFitnessPal and Map My Walk. 2 very good apps that I strongly recommend that you use in your journey to lose 40 pounds in 16 weeks, if that's your goal, if you want to start using that as your work on wellness goal. Now, I hope this helps you take Thomas Jefferson's quote to heart and habituate yourself to walking far as one of your exercises in your #work on wellness journey. If you go and can work it up to it and get to walking 8 to 10 miles around your city or around, an area that's easy to walk with, or if you get on an elliptical at the gym, if I can do it, you can too. So I want you to go out today, #work on wellness with me, and let's lose 40 pounds in 16 weeks like I did, or whatever you can do in the time frame that you have available. Remember, it may take you longer than 16 weeks, depending on the amount of time and the amount of calories that you can burn. But this is what I did. I went from my original start weight to 40 pounds lighter in 16 weeks by following the Goal Achievement Success System method and using these particular tools to help me do that. So you can do it too. And I appreciate you listening today. This is your host, Tony Woodall. We've done it. I've done it. You can do it. And I want you to join us back here on our episodes. If you have any questions, leave some comments in our show notes page at goalgettingpodcast.com/S2E5. Let me know what you think. If you've tried these tools, if you use them, you can let everybody know that you like them as well. Give us some ideas. But these are 2 of my favorites. There are other tools out there If one works better for you, use it. But these are the tools that I use. I love going to the gym. I love the elliptical if I'm going to be there. I love walking the streets of San Francisco. I love walking the streets and the hills and the paths that have around the house that I live in. And it's just all kinds of great things to do. Walking is a great exercise. You don't have to be a marathoner. You don't have to run. Get out and walk. You can start slow, start easy, start light. Do what you can do. At least go out and do something. And as Thomas Jefferson says, if you can, habituate yourself to walk far. And that means make it a habit. Do a little bit every day. And the more you do, the better you'll become at it. The more you'll be able to go push yourself a little bit every day to get just a few more steps. Walk further away or park further away so you have to walk a little further to get to work. Take the stairs, do things that bit by bit that will help you do what you need to do. So again, this is Tony Woodall with Goal Getting Podcast on our journey for working on wellness. And go out today and make it a great day.